A woman named Cora sits at her station in front of her computers. She asks her AI assistant for updates on what is happening outside. The AI responds that nothing significant has occurred. Cora looks disappointed. Then the AI adds that her connection with the central system has been interrupted, and there has been no signal for 3 days. Cora panics after hearing this and asks why she was not informed earlier. The AI replies that it assumed she did not need the information urgently. With a frustrated expression, Cora tries to fix the issue on her computer, but there is nothing she can do except wait for the signal to return. Next, she stands up from her station and tells her AI to play something on any topic. The AI begins narrating past events, explaining how the world's population grew into billions, making survival more difficult. Cora wonders what the world looked like back then, and the AI tells her it was very different. But soon the AI malfunctions and shuts down, but Cora's not bothered as this happens every day. After that, Cora follows her usual daily routine, exercising and completing tasks she's been doing for years. She then plays a video on her computer, which describes how a sudden mist covered the entire planet overnight, disintegrating the human body within hours. Only a few survivors remain, forced to live in underground bases, hoping to one day save humanity from extinction. Days pass, but the signal from headquarters does not return. Eventually, Cora decides to leave her underground shelter. Before stepping outside, she confirms her identity and purpose through her ID, which grants her access to repair a facility. She puts on her protective uniform, covering her entire body, and wears a face mask equipped with an oxygen supply. Once outside, she looks around and sees that nothing has changed. The place remains abandoned, with no signs of life. A thick, fog-like mist fills the air, limiting visibility. Then she heads toward the equipment to perform maintenance, but quickly realizes she cannot do it alone. Suddenly, she notices a drone carrying a supply package. As it almost flies past her, she waves to get its attention. She retrieves the package, which contains food and other essential supplies, and carries it back inside. Later, she plays a tutorial on her computer to learn how to contact a technician to do the maintenance for her. But suddenly, her connection gets an error message, and all her computers shut down at the same time. Cora panics again and tries different methods to restore power, but nothing works. Frustrated, she tells her AI that she is going to visit the nearest neighbor. The AI immediately warns her that protocols strictly forbid any contact with other members. Cora, now desperate, yells back, asking what other options she has. Then she orders the AI to accompany her, and the AI agrees. Next, Cora puts on her outdoor outfit and prepares to leave. Just as she is about to step outside, her computer suddenly turns back on. However, instead of changing her mind, she decides to continue with her plan. She no longer feels safe staying in her bunker with no contact from headquarters. Before leaving, she covers the entrance to her underground compartment with some trash to make it less noticeable. She walks a long distance through the grass and bushes, with her drone flying above, guiding her in the right direction. After some time, she arrives at her neighbor's underground entrance, breathing heavily from the long walk. As she gets closer, she is shocked by what she sees. His entire basement is flooded, with some of his belongings floating in the water. Feeling that something is terribly wrong, she checks her device and navigates to a nearby tower. Next, she climbs the stairs and reaches the top. There, she sees a person slumped over a desk. As she gets closer, she realizes that it is the man she's been searching for. A gunshot wound is visible on his head. Confused and unsettled, she picks up a handwritten letter from the desk. The letter is addressed to whoever finds him. He writes that he still does not know which is worse, discovering the truth or realizing that nobody cares enough to contact him. He explains that their employers abandoned the project, leaving them to die alone. He also mentions that he was unable to reach the other stations. With his base flooded, he had nowhere to go. In his final words, he states that they will never save the world as they had hoped and worked for all these years. Cora panics after reading the letter. She picks up the radio and desperately tries to contact the other stations, but there is no response. Before leaving, she looks at the dead man, Tim, one last time and quietly tells him she is sorry. Then she heads down the tower. Cora wanders around the area, unsure of what to do next. Finally, she makes a decision. She will not return home. Instead, she tells her device that she is going to headquarters, a journey that will take her a full day. With the drone still leading the way, she moves forward. On her way, she suddenly spots someone approaching. She quickly hides and observes from a distance. A group of armed gang members passes by, searching for supplies and oxygen to steal. Once they are gone, she steps out of her hiding place and continues toward headquarters. When she finally reaches the facility, she enters and looks around. There is no sign of anyone. Instead, she sees messages flashing on the computer screens. The messages appear to be instructions to the workers, informing them that their efforts in stopping the mist must end and ordering them to leave immediately through the nearest exit. The leaders are already on their way to leave this home, and every employee should do so. At this moment, Cora feels completely lost. She screams in frustration, feeling abandoned with no answers. After yelling at the top of her lungs, she suddenly senses a presence behind her. She turns around and freezes. Standing at the entrance are the same gang members she saw earlier. Cora braces herself and points a gun at the intruders. One of them steps toward her, pretending to ignore the weapon she is holding. Without hesitation, she fires at his leg. However, he keeps moving forward, forcing her to shoot him again, this time killing him on the spot. Next, another gang member does the same, and Cora shoots her too. Seeing this, the third attacker panics, turns around, and disappears from sight. At this point, Cora realizes how dangerous the situation is and decides she must return to her base immediately. On her way back home, someone suddenly appears in front of her. The person greets her and introduces herself as Blake. Before Cora can react, more gang members emerge from the shadows and grab her. They punch her in the stomach and all over her body. Then Blake injects her with a drug, causing her to lose consciousness. A while later, Cora wakes up to find herself tied to a chair. Sitting in front of her is a bald man with a strong build. He introduces himself as Joseph and begins questioning her. After confirming that she works for the people he despises, he tells her his story. Years ago, he approached them, begging to be part of their project. However, in the name of saving humanity, they rejected him and cast him out into the mist, along with others who they deemed unworthy. He resents them for leaving him, and many others to die. Then he demands that Cora summon her drone immediately. She hesitates but eventually presses her device to do as he says. Satisfied, Josh orders Blake to keep an eye on Cora and not to kill her until he returns. Then he leaves the room. Once he is gone, Cora waits for the right moment. When the time comes, she lifts the chair she is tied to and uses it to strike Blake, knocking her to the ground and killing her instantly. Then she frees herself, sneaks out of the room, and runs to find an escape route. As she moves through the hideout, she spots another gang member who has not noticed her. She attacks him from behind, but the noise alerts the others. Soon, multiple gang members rush toward her. With no plan and no weapons, Cora freezes, unsure of what to do. Just then, gunfire erupts and Cora is cornered. A drone arrives and kills one of the gangs, but another member finds her and attacks her with a bat. Before she can finish Cora with a deadly blow, the woman is shot down by someone Cora cannot yet see. Soon, a woman suddenly appears in front of her, and she looks exactly like Cora. The woman tells her to follow, and without hesitation, they run together toward a nearby building. Behind them, gunshots continue as the remaining gang members fight back, and they separate the women. Cora is then attacked by a man who gets in a hand-to-hand combat with her. But Cora thinks fast and takes off his mask. Soon his face swells up and he dies a violent death. The woman also kills one of the gang members who was relentlessly shooting at her. Meanwhile, Joseph arrives and demands to know what is happening. His men tell him that someone is attacking them. Furious, he joins the fight. But before he can do anything, Cora stabs him in the stomach with a stick and he falls to the ground. He then destroys her device that she uses to control her drones. But instead of finishing him off, she leaves him there and follows her mysterious savior. After running for a while, Cora stops and demands an explanation. She wants to know how this woman looks exactly like her. The woman tells her that they need to reach a safer place first. Once they are there, she promises to explain everything. Once they reach a safe place, the new girl begins to explain everything to Cora. She starts by asking for her name. Cora replies that she is Cora A1. The girl then reveals that she is Cora B7. To her shock, B7 tells her that both of them are clones for the Cora project. Cora is overwhelmed by this revelation. She struggles to accept that she is not a real person, but a clone. B7 clarifies that everything they know is a setup. They are part of an experiment. Their memories were designed to make them believe they had a past, which made it harder for them to question their reality. The protocols preventing them from seeing each other were also put in place to keep them from realizing the truth. Cora feels lost as all of this information sinks in. B7 then tells her that they must find the people who abandoned the project because wherever they are hiding must be a better place to live than this. She also reveals that she has a map of the entire site. They decide to head to a large complex building they suspect might hold answers. If they find nothing there, their backup plan is to climb a nearby hill and look beyond it for signs of life. After finalizing their plan, they go to sleep, planning to wake up early and begin their journey. The next day, after traveling for miles, they finally reach the complex. As they cautiously make their way inside, everything appears empty. Suddenly, a voice echoes through the space. A man warns them that he will shoot if they do not follow his orders. He commands them to stop wandering and switch on the screen on the wall. B7 hesitates but does as he says. On the screen, a man appears and introduces himself as Adon. He assures them that he will not hurt them if they agree to join his group. He tries to lure them in by claiming he has all the food and supplies they need. He urges them to let go of their illusions and accept the truth. However, instead of surrendering, B7 suddenly pulls out her gun and shoots one of Adon's men. The situation quickly escalates, and a gunfight breaks out between both sides. Chaos fills the room as people fall one by one. After heavy losses, Adon finally agrees to let them go. He keeps his promise and allows them to leave. But just as they are about to exit, B7 shoots and kills a wounded girl. Cora leads the way toward their final hope, the hill, while B7 struggles to keep up, weakened by the injuries from the earlier battle. As they climb, B7's strength fades. Once they reach the top, she collapses, unable to go any further. Breathing heavily, she looks up at Cora and asks what she sees beyond the hill. Cora takes a moment, then replies with disbelief and excitement. She tells B7 that she did it. She finally made it. Beyond the hill, she sees hundreds of people living normal lives. There are children playing, animals roaming freely, and clear skies with no masks or protective gear. Hearing this, B7 takes a final breath and dies. Cora realizes what has happened and looks at her lifeless body. Then she slowly turns her gaze back to the barren landscape beyond the hill. But instead of the world she just described, she sees nothing but empty fields, lifeless and desolate. Without saying a word, she heads back home. Cora then returns to her underground bunker, exhausted and filled with unanswered questions. However, the moment she arrives, she notices something is wrong. Her basement door is wide open. She rushes inside to see what is happening. Inside, she finds Joseph sitting comfortably on her couch, surrounded by a mess. He looks at her with a sinister smile and tells her that she made a mistake by leaving him alive. Now she won't survive either, as he has used up all her oxygen and resources. Cora demands to know why he did this. Joseph laughs and tells her that he is going to die anyway, but he finds satisfaction in knowing that she will not make it either. Without hesitation, Cora pulls out her gun and shoots him in the head, killing him instantly. She stands there, breathing heavily. Then she realizes her oxygen supply has completely run out. With no other choice, she removes her mask and holds her breath for as long as she can. But eventually she exhales and takes a deep breath in. To her shock, nothing happens. The mist is gone. Panicked, she rushes to her computer and checks the security cameras to see what is happening outside. What she sees leaves her speechless. The once deadly fog has completely disappeared. Cora stares at her mask, wondering if what she saw is actually true. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.